Why some people feel safest when invisible. You feel it the second attention drifts toward you. That small tightening in your chest. That quiet panic that says, "Don't be here," too loudly. So you reach for your phone the instant a conversation pauses, pretending to check something important, because standing there with nothing to do feels like being erased. You ask, "Need anything?" for the third time after two gentle no's, because the silence after rejection burns more than being ignored. You volunteer to fix a loose chair leg at a gathering no one asked you to fix, just to give your hands a job while the room decides whether you belong. You don't call it fear. You call it being easy. Low maintenance. Out of the way. But notice how your voice gets softer when someone looks at you too long. Notice how you choose the back seat without thinking. Notice how you say, "I'm fine," before anyone even asks. It happens so fast you barely feel it. A little shrinking. A little fading. Just enough to stay safe. Because somewhere inside you, being seen doesn't feel neutral. It feels dangerous. There was a time when visibility meant something went wrong. Maybe not loudly. Maybe not all at once. But enough that your body learned a rule it never forgot. When I am noticed, something is at risk. So now you move through rooms like a shadow that knows exactly how long it's allowed to exist. You take up just enough space to be useful. Not enough to be questioned. You laugh at the right moments. You nod. You listen. You become very good at making other people comfortable. And very quiet about yourself. In meetings you wait. You have the thought. You feel it rise. And then you swallow it, because what if it lands wrong? What if it makes someone look at you? Really look. So you let someone else say it. Or you let it die. At parties you drift to the edges. You hold a drink you don't want. You pretend to text someone who isn't there. Anything to avoid that moment when a stranger might turn and ask, "So, who are you? Who are you?" That question feels too large. Too exposing. Like a light turned on in a room you've been carefully keeping dim. This isn't shyness. It's not politeness. It's something older. It's a nervous system that learned safety through disappearance. Maybe when you were younger, being loud brought punishment. Maybe being honest brought ridicule. Maybe being excited brought someone else's anger. Or their withdrawal. Or their shame. So you adapted? You became watchful. You became careful. You became good at reading a room before the room ever noticed you. You learned to be small in just the right way. And it worked. It kept you out of trouble. It kept you out of conflict. It kept you out of pain you didn't have words for. Invisibility became a kind of control. If no one really sees me, no one can really hurt me. So now, even in safe rooms, even with kind people, even when nothing bad is happening, your body still whispers, "Don't stand out." Because being forgotten feels calmer than being rejected. Because being overlooked feels safer than being misunderstood. Because being invisible means you don't have to risk finding out whether you matter. And that's the quiet trap. You don't crave isolation. You crave the relief that comes when no one is looking at you too closely. The relief of not having to perform. The relief of not having to be someone. But there's a cost to this kind of safety. You start to confuse being needed with being valued. So you overfunction. You overhelp. You become the one who always says yes. You refill glasses that aren't empty. You straighten things that aren't crooked. You offer yourself in small, useful pieces so you don't have to offer who you actually are. Because who you actually are feels risky. So you stay half present. Half there. Just enough to be included. Not enough to be known. And slowly, quietly, your life begins to feel like something you're watching instead of living. Here is the question you've been circling without knowing it. What happens when being seen starts to feel more dangerous than being forgotten? What happens when your deepest instinct is not to be loved, but to be left alone? You still want connection. Of course you do. You're human. But you want it on your terms. From behind a curtain. With an exit. So you build relationships where you are the listener. The helper. The one who holds everyone else's stories while keeping your own sealed tight. Because if no one knows you deeply, no one can abandon the real you. Only the version you offer. And that version is always polite. Always agreeable. Always fine. Even when you're not. You tell yourself you're independent. Self-sufficient. Low drama. But sometimes, late at night, you feel it. That strange, hollow quiet. Not loneliness exactly. Something closer to being unseen even by yourself. You don't know how much of you is still missing until you realize how little space you take in your own life. You don't notice how much you've shrunk until someone actually tries to see you. And it feels unbearable. Too bright. Too close. Too real. So you retreat. You go back to the corner. Back to the phone. Back to being useful instead of being present. This pattern didn't come from nowhere. It was built in moments so small you barely remember them. A look. A sigh. A withdrawal of warmth when you were too much. Your nervous system learned to survive by disappearing just enough to avoid the sting. And now it does it automatically. Before you speak. Before you reach. Before you let yourself be felt. You fade. Not because you don't want to exist, but because existing once cost you something you were never able to name. So you learned a different way. A quieter way. A safer way. And it has kept you alive. But it has also kept you distant. From people. From moments. From yourself. You don't have to change it right now. Just notice it. Notice how quickly you step back when someone leans in. Notice how often you apologize for taking up time. Notice how you wait for permission to be where you already are. There is something in you that is still standing at the edge of a room, watching, measuring, deciding whether it's safe to come forward. And it's been doing that for a very long time. Longer than you realize. And when the room finally empties, and no one is looking, you still wait. For the moment someone notices. To prove you're allowed to stay.